All right, so you're finally moving out.
Huge step.
Huge, right? Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a big one. So we are diving into an Updater.com article that I think is going to help give you a little bit of a roadmap for this process.
Yeah.
It's called Moving Out for the First Time Checklist. Everything you need. And this is no joke.
Mm-hmm.
This article is comprehensive.
It is.
So this isn't about like, should you fold your socks? This is like, are you ready to be a human in the world
Exactly.
on your own 2 feet type of article?
It's not just about packing boxes. It's about, like, are you ready for life?
Yeah, so think of it less about like what kind of shower curtain should I get, although we do get to that.
Right.
And more about like, okay, how do I adult one-on-one?
Adulting 101. Adulting 101.
Absolutely. And I think they do a really great job in this article of not sugarcoating it
Yeah.
because it can be really exciting
Yes.
to think about like, oh, I'm going to have my own place.
Right.
But then there's the whole, like, how am I going to pay for my own place?
Yeah. And it's really about setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
And this article does such a good job with that because they start right off the bat with finances and logistics.
Yeah, which is not the fun.
Right.
Like, it's not the fun stuff to think about.
No.
It's not the decorating and the kind of
the pillows.
throw pillows. But I do think it's smart because you can't really get to the throw pillows until you've figured that other stuff out.
You got to have a place to put the throw pillows.
You got to have the place.
Right.
So they really start with budgeting, which I think is smart.
Yes.
Because
that's the foundation.
I am someone who, I will admit, learned this the hard way. I definitely, when I moved out for the first time, I had stars in my eyes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get an espresso machine and it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I should probably figure out my budget. And maybe an espresso machine wasn't the most fiscally responsible first purchase out the gate.
Yeah. I love that they emphasize understanding, like, why budgeting matters.
Yeah.
Because it's not about restriction. It's about having a plan. It's about being in control and really avoiding that debt.
Yes.
That can sometimes come with moving out for the first time.
And they even talk about budgeting apps.
Yes.
Which, when I first moved out, that was not
And exist.
Right.
So
it's amazing all the tools and resources out there. It's true. It makes it, I think, a lot easier to wrap your brain around.
Absolutely.
But speaking of things that I wish I had thought about more when I first moved out, was like location.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Because I think I was so excited to just like not be living with my parents anymore.
Yeah.
That I was like, I don't care where it is.
As long as it's got my name on it.
I literally, I found my first apartment because it had a cool name.
Okay.
And because there was a good pizza place down the street.
There you go.
Like, that's the extent of the thought that went into that.
See, and that's where this article, I think, is so valuable because it kind of brings up those things that maybe you wouldn't think about in the excitement of it all.
Yeah.
Like proximity to work.
Yes.
Neighborhood safety, reliable transportation. Like, these are things that
matter. In the long run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's not just about like...
cute cafes.
Cute cafes and a cool name.
Right.
So, okay, we've got the budgeting.
Yes.
We've got the location. Where do we go from here? So we've covered like the location and budgeting.
That kind of the ground level.
The foundation?
Yeah.
But then this article like throws you right into adulthood.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you've thought about where you're going to live, how much it's going to cost.
Yeah.
You've maybe like dipped your toe into the, budgeting apps and stuff.
Right.
And then they're like, credit cards.
Yes.
Health insurance.
Renter's insurance.
Renter's insurance.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, how am I a grown-up?
Right. Are we grown-ups now?
I'm not ready. But I do think it's smart that they're not wrong.
No, they're not.
Because these are all things that, like, you don't really think about.
Until you need them.
And then it's like, oh, shoot.
Right.
Should have thought about this sooner.
Yeah, and I think what I love about how they weave it in is they emphasize that it's really about building that, like, good credit score before you even move out. So, like, if you haven't already, think about, like, can I get a credit card? Can I use this responsibly? Because that's going to come into play when you're looking at renting, applying for loans, all that good stuff.
It's true. And it's like, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I wish someone had, like, sat me down when I was younger and been like, hey.
Right.
This is important, and it seems boring.
Right. It seems very adult and boring.
Yeah, but you're going to want to know this.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about health insurance.
Yes.
Because that's another one where it's like, oh, yeah.
That's important.
That's important. I should probably figure that out.
And the article does a good job of explaining why it's important.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about being prepared for those, like, major emergencies. It's also those, like, unexpected doctor visits.
Yeah.
Those moments where you're like, oh, I need to take care of myself.
Yeah, I have a cold and I need to go to the doctor.
Exactly.
It's not...
It adds up.
It adds up.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then renter's insurance, which honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't even realize is a thing.
Yes.
Like,
It's often overlooked.
I didn't know that was a thing until I was a grown-up.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense when you think about it.
It does.
Because you're moving into this new place.
Yes.
Probably with a lot of new stuff.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
And accidents happen.
Stuff happens, yeah.
So whether it's a burst pipe, a kitchen fire...
Right.
Even something as simple as, like, a friend spilling red wine on your new rug.
Yes.
Renter's insurance can kind of help protect you financially from those unexpected events.
I'm someone who loves to think about, like, the worst-case scenario.
Uh-huh.
And so that's one where I'm like, okay, if the worst-case scenario happens, I don't want to also be dealing with, like, how am I going to pay for all this?
Exactly.
So, okay, so we've got our finances kind of. We're thinking about our finances. We're thinking about our health. We're protecting ourselves with renter's insurance.
We are.
But this article doesn't stop there.
It does. It just keeps going.
It's like they really want to prepare you.
It's holistic.
They're like, we're going to throw it all at you.
Yes.
So you are ready
Always be prepared
for this big life change.
It is a big life change.
And one of the things that I really appreciate that they touch on is emotional preparedness.
Oh, yes.
Because I think we can kind of get caught up in, like, the logistics.
It's easy to get caught up in, like, the stuff.
Yeah, the stuff and,
the
like...
excitement of decorating.
Yes. But there's a whole, like, emotional side to moving out for the first time.
Absolutely.
That I don't think a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, and this article does a great job of acknowledging that that psychological shift that happens.
Totally.
Because it's a major life transition.
Huge.
And it's normal to feel a mix of emotions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Excitement, anxiety, maybe even a little bit of fear.
Yes. Definitely.
Like, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
And so I love that they bring that to the forefront.
So we've talked about, like, the emotional side, the financial side, like, all of the things that go into actually getting yourself out of your parents' house and into your own place.
Right.
But this article, like I said, is very comprehensive.
Yes.
It's very thorough.
Yeah.
So they don't stop there.
They don't?
They're like, okay, you've got your apartment.
Yeah.
You've figured out your budget. You've had your first, like, emotional breakdown.
You got your renter's insurance.
You've got your renter's insurance. Hopefully you haven't had to use it yet.
Right.
But now what?
Right.
Like, now how do you actually make this place feel like home?
Yes, and this is the fun part.
This is the fun part.
It is.
Right? Like, this is where you get to, like, let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, express yourself.
Express yourself, yeah. And they even have a whole section on, like, nice to haves.
Oh, yeah.
Which I appreciate because it's like, you know, sometimes you need permission to, like, buy the fun stuff.
Absolutely. The things that just bring you joy.
The things that bring you joy.
Well, what are some of the things that they recommend?
Okay, so they talk about houseplants.
Yes.
Which I can get behind.
Instantly brighten up a space.
They do. But I will say, I have killed many a houseplant.
Me too.
In my day.
They're difficult.
They can be tricky.
Yeah.
But they also talk about, like, gym memberships.
Yes.
Which I think is a good one because, you know, it's like...
Yeah. Gets you out.
Gets you out of the house. Gets you...
Socializing?
Yeah, it's good for you.
Right.
It's one of those, like, you know, checks all the boxes.
That's that. It's good for, like, your mental health, too.
Yes.
Which is important when you're going through a big life transition.
They even talk about things like magazine subscriptions.
Yes.
Which I thought was kind of a funny one.
I like that one.
But I do think it's, like, a good reminder to, like...
To, like, nurture your interests.
Nurture your interests, yeah. Like, what are the things that, you know, bring you joy?
Exactly.
And how can you, like, incorporate those into your space?
It's not all about just, like, the bare necessities. It's about, like, really making it feel like you...
Making it feel like you've... Yeah. And, like, a place that you want to spend time.
Absolutely.
Which, like... Duh. But also sometimes you need to be reminded.
Yeah, it's easy to forget.
Of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've given us all this great info.
They have.
Like, this article really did not disappoint.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, if someone is listening to this and they are about to embark on this journey.
It is the journey.
What's, like, the one thing that they should take away from all of this?
I think the biggest thing is just to, like, be prepared.
Okay.
But also, like, give yourself grace.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be perfect.
It's not going to be perfect.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's a learning process.
Totally.
You're going to make mistakes.
You're going to make so many mistakes.
And that's okay.
It's fine.
It's all part of it.
Yeah, it's how you learn.
Exactly.
So be prepared. Give yourself grace.
Yes.
And I think the last thing I would add is, like, have fun.
Yes.
Because it's a really exciting time.
It is.
It's like a new chapter.
It is.
And it's your chance to, like, really create the space that you want.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that's a good note to end on.
I agree.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for this deep dive into moving out for the first time.
Yeah, thanks for coming along.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Happy moving and happy adulting.